All right, welcome to Gundam Explained. Adam here, and use this time to go over the original, the first episode of the first Mobile Suit Gundam. There's a long history to that, but that might be for another video. So yeah, let's just get into this. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Doing a giveaway, actually 2 different giveaways going on right now. So make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. But yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, yes, avoiding it because of copyright issues, and it could block the video anyway, but the theme song at the beginning is awesome. And what is really cool about the first episode, and really as all the episodes progress, is it gives a recap of what's going on. Like Star Wars in that crawl at the beginning, there's a slight narration, a brief narration, at the beginning of Mobile Suit Gundam, talking about the sides, the colonies in space, and the terrorist attacks that have occurred. Because with Mobile Suit Gundam, it takes place in the year 0079. So this is where, at one point, humanity, as they've gone into space and build space colonies in the different sides and on the moon, they decided to start the years over again. And instead of AD, it's now UC for Universal Century. And as it does explain, we have the Principality of Zeon that's the main antagonist, potentially. It gets confusing as you get more into Gundam. But yeah, they were part of Side 3. They wanted independence, and so kind of wars have broken out. You know, and here they're showing Operation British. This is when the Zeon forces made a colony crash land on Earth. And it hit Australia, and you know, a lot of that is talked about as we get further along in the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. And here's a shot of the colony hitting Australia. Gundam Rising. Space. The final frontier. These are the... All right, here's the Zaku with the mono eyes. So the main kind of baddies, again, if you will, right now, the Principality of Zeon, they have their Zaku mobile suits. Now, these specifically are the Zaku 2s, which is cool, because then that means there were previous Zakus. So that kind of builds in that kind of mythology, the background information, that there's a universe here. So we have Zaku's heading toward a colony. So the Zeon forces, specifically a few Zakus, have come to Side 7 specifically to see if the Federation happens to have any sort of weapons here. Between the Zeons and the Federation, prior to this, after Operation British and the colony drop, they signed a treaty that they wouldn't have any weapons. Here they kind of open a door to the colony, and as they get further in, this is where gravity will kick in and it'll start feeling more like being on Earth. So Slender, Jean, and Denim are the 3 pilots in the Zaku 2s that work under Char Aznable in his custom Zaku 2. And they're, here to spy on the colony to see if anything is going on. They spot Frau Bo and Haro. She's kind of running into Amuro's house, and this is where we kind of meet the main protagonist of the original Gundam series. And yes, the R2-D2 of Gundam. So Amuro Ray, he is a teenager, very much into science, technology. I guess Frau Bo's there to tell them that they have to get out because I guess there's White Base. It's a Pegasus class warship that's going to be docking soon, and because of that, they want people to evacuate just because there's going to be some, military shenanigans going on here. She's very motherly to him, girlfriend-like to him, and that's kind of a cool relationship that you see progress through the entirety of the first Gundam series. And we meet Hayato. He's another character that plays in a lot of the original Gundam series. There's Amuro in his sweet red car eating a sandwich as they go evacuate. And you can't forget Haro. Yeah, and what she's bringing up about his father is Amuro Ray's father, Tem Ray, is a scientist with the Federation working on a mobile suit. We're going to see kind of an exchange between Amuro and his father, which, plays a major part throughout not only this original series, but further Gundam. So get the Gundam components loaded onto the White Base. So here's where we're first seeing confirmation, yes, that Earth Federation with White Base, that Pegasus class warship that has been brought in, is picking up the Gundam that has been being worked on. Gundam being the name of the mobile suit the Federation has created, kind of in reaction to the Principality of Zeon's Zaku mobile suits. So here we see the White Base Pegasus class ship enter. They make a note that that it's almost led a Zeon warship here. So that's kind of where the Zaku's come from. There is a Zeon ship in the area, and actually Gundam Origin, which is a more recent series, dives more into the background information leading up to this very exact part in the Gundam universe. Cool shot of the ship docking, kind of taking cues from like Star Trek and Star Wars. All right, here's where we're seeing Temre, Amuro's father, and Bright Noah, who plays a major role in most of UC Gundam, as well as his son, Hathaway Noah, who we see in Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway. So there's a little exchange going on here. Bright confirming he's 19, which you would never assume he's 19, but also, you know, Amuro being maybe about 17, I forget his exact age in this, but, you know, they kind of mention the fact that they don't want to have to send kids into battle, which is kind of a direct call out of most, you know, military we see here on Earth, where a lot of younger people are sent into battle to fight, which kind of seems sad. Really cool to kind of see the deck of what one of these ships look like in the Gundam universe. So it kind of has like the captain's chair, as well as, and it's elevated, as well as some other kind of analysts, navigators, etc., that, or, you know, even weapons crews that are also elevated in different parts of the ship. So kind of a neat, unique look with the Gundam series, specifically Universal Century. And yeah, and they were just confirming that they couldn't outrun that Zeon ship, so the Zeon ship knows where this warship is. All right, and here we have it, where that Zeon ship has none only then Char Aznable, the main antagonist of Mobile Suit Gundam, and they're bringing up Operation V here, which is the name of the operation that includes the Mobile Suit Gundam's development, I think, as well as the gun tank and gun cannon. All right, there was a little gun cannon on a truck bed. So here's where Char's team of Zaku's inside 7 was really there just to do some recon, but one of them is thinking, you know what, we have to go attack. They have these weapons, they have these advanced mobile suits, we got to go ahead and attack them. But they're like, we kind of got to go back. Interesting call out where, you know, he's like, you know, look at Lieutenant Char. He built his career on actual combat, which by watching Origin, you can see that, you know, Char kind of put in motion to start a battle, which kind of helped the Zeon get the upper hand. And in this situation, one of his men is wanting to actually do the same thing. All right, fires that gun cannon, taking it out. That's one less mobile suit for the Federation. Gun tank also gets taken out. The other, actually, this would be more of a, not a mobile suit, not even really a mobile armor, I guess, because those fly. So this is just a tank. So here we have people that are in the shelter during the evacuation, and they can hear the explosions. So that kind of, the Pegasus class warship entering Side 7, you know, was good reason for them to evacuate and take shelter. Amuro's deciding to leave the shelter to go find his dad because his dad is part of the military and he's thinking, you know, in some way he could be of help to them. But here, Amuro sees something crazy for the first time. Now, this is Amuro kind of starting to see the horrors of war, and this is a theme that continues through the rest of this episode and the series. You know, he just saw that vehicle get attacked by Zaku's, so he knows that they're dead. But also you saw kind of quickly the Operation V manual. Some cool battle scenes. All right, so Amuro Ray finds the manual for his father's designed mobile suit called the Gundam. It's almost like fate. Char's men have reported in, advising him that Jean has engaged, and he's just like, yeah, take pictures, head back if it becomes too dangerous. So he seems like a kind bad guy. So Amuro is just sitting here, reading the manual casually as all the other civilians are evacuating to the spaceport. Cool little thing here, a learning type computer. That's no different than, you know, the machine learning going on today, AI. And I think that explains a lot of maybe the actions in Mobile Suit Gundam when you're seeing a humanoid-like giant robot move in human ways to do actions such as fighting, using a sword. It's taking, you know, the things, inputs from the human pilots to use as part of its programming. Some things are automatic. Later on in other Gundam series, they even discuss this briefly, like in F91, picking up the gun. They talk about, it's just automatic, just stand in front of it. So I think that's kind of cool, and it's something I think we'd see more of in the future, of course, is machine learning in the AI. So Amuro and Frau Bro meet up as they're running to the spaceport, and some civilians get attacked. But Amuro sees his dad and runs toward him. And the plan here is for the team to take the Gundam to White Base so they can leave and then, have a battle in space with Zeon. But that soon changes. And we kind of get the first shot of Amuro looking at the Gundam. I think it's pretty cool how it's not like a full-on shot, and it's the perspective of someone on the ground looking up at a giant robot on a truck bed. And then another explosion hits, takes out a lot of people. And we see the aftermath of that explosion. Frau's family got killed in the explosion. And you can see how in Mobile Suit Gundam they focus on the intensity, the stress that these people are going through in a time of war. So as Frau and the remaining survivors head back to the shelter, Amuro has plans of his own. So Amuro jumps into the cockpit of the Gundam, not really knowing what to do. He uses the manual to figure things out. But as he's trying to figure things out, that's when the Zaku's approach, realizing that the Gundam is operable and they have to defend themselves. Or the Vulcan cannons firing first. And they do notice it seems like it's not functioning that well, and it really is due to Amuro figuring out how to pilot the thing. So they're figuring they can just take it out, not realizing a lot of the Gundam is developed in ways that are far more advanced than the Zaku 2s. Cool shot. Here's where the beam sabers come in. Ooh. Something to keep in mind here is due to the required power of a mobile suit, if you are to destroy its reactor, it causes a rather large explosion. So that's another byproduct that's throughout the kind of the Gundam series, is being careful where, how sometimes the pilots want to shoot a mobile suit down so they don't cause the reactor to explode, maybe disable it without killing the pilot. Also, if they happen to be in a colony, they don't want to have to blow it up and kind of destroy parts of the colony, expose it to space. And there goes Amuro's dad flying out into space. Yeah, and even with this call out here, if I hit the mobile suit's engine, it might destroy all of Side 7. So Amuro specifically targets the cockpit in order to take out the pilot to hopefully stop it from blowing up. And it seemed to work. So this is where Bright Noah has recognized Amuro as the pilot, and not knowing he's a kid yet though, but he's like, hey, if he's able to do what he's doing, we need his help. And Char's Zeon ship has already fired on the colony. All right, and that is it for the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam, the thing that started it all. Just really cool to see how grounded this is, and it's pretty dark. It doesn't take death lightly, but then how we have this kind of unique individual, Amuro Ray, who just so happens his dad designed the Gundam, but he accidentally pilots it in order to, to save the people around that are being killed by that attack. And that's what kind of kicks off him being a Gundam pilot and getting involved in the Federation for Zeon. But I gotta say, overall, I liked, from watching this for my first time back when I first got into Gundam in 2019, I liked the animation more than I thought. I've never really been big on anime. And this anime has kind of that aged look and feel to it, but it's certainly passable. Even the art is well done. I kind of like how the things are being portrayed, so it's less about how it looks and it's more about the end result, how they're portraying kind of this grounded, realistic future sort of battle where, you know, people's lives are at stake and, you know, people are making choices that are sometimes selfish. And also, you know, another thing about this is I think the music in the series is great. It kind of has kind of the disco dancey feel because this was made in 1979. But I think it works. And, you know, Future Gundam also has some excellent music to it as well. Anyway, curious what you guys think of the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Have you bothered watching it yet? Or do people tend to just watch the modern Gundam stuff? And if you watched it before, how do you like it? Where does it rank? You know, a lot of times I like to say Zeta is my favorite Gundam because I think it encapsulates what made Gundam as awesome as it was, but with the first time having a huge budget. Though I got to say the original still does things right, and it's still awesome for me today. As someone that's, you know, as old as I am, getting into Gundam in 2019, I am really shocked and surprised how well this holds up. And there's a lot of comparisons to Star Wars as well. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. And what I see with Gundam is a more grounded Star Wars, a more realistic take on this, what's at stake between people and lives, like in the Star Wars universe. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.